Welcome to my channel, Train, Don't Strain with me, Mountain Jace. In this series I want to demonstrate exactly how to target a muscle using the core tenets I expounded in my earlier Foundations of Fitness videos. If you haven't yet had a chance to watch them, I strongly encourage that you do. They will revolutionize the way you approach your gym training sessions. Before I move on to the video footage of me leg pressing the evolutionary way, there are a few crucial points that need to be touched upon. Firstly, far too many people get confused as to what muscles they are training. They somehow think that doing squats followed by deadlifts, then a leg press and ending with lunges holding a barbell is a sign of a comprehensive workout. Sadly, not only is it not, but it is the complete opposite. It's an abject admission of failure. The upper leg muscle is engaged in only two functional ways: either pressing a force away from you for the glutes and thighs, or curling a weight for the quads. One needs to understand the following. When you train, your overriding objective is to tear the maximum number of muscle fibers, layer after layer, to take the muscle into the debilitation zone. That's the zone by which your body will be forced to build back better, leading to tangible performance enhancements over time. Though the glutes are the strongest muscle in the body, that's why we use them as the major means to propel us forward at speed. If trained correctly, a perfectly executed set of 3 leg press moves is ample opportunity to work them into the debilitation zone. So, getting back to my statement that taking 60 minutes or more, going through multiple leg exercises that at first glance look different, but in truth are not, is a sign of failure, not success. Doing multiple sets of squats, deadlifts, leg presses, etc., though the point at which you add external weight to the system, that is to say, placing a heavy bar on your shoulders or lifting a heavy bar with straight arms off the ground, and the alignment of your body seems to change with each exercise, they are, in fact, all repeatedly working the exact same muscle. The knee joint opens, and to varying degrees, depending on your technique and whether you have chosen your optimal weight or one that is far too heavy for you, your upper leg moves from being basically straight to having a 90-degree angle in it, sometimes even more when you're out and out cheat training. Harsh as it is, those people that do endless amounts of squats, deadlifts, etc., all on the same day, are only able to do so by making sure they never actually hit the glutes sufficiently intensely to destroy the very fibers that allow them to cheat train for this hour. That is to say, they never actually deplete the fixed number of fibers in their glutes to the point at which it enters the debilitation zone. And thus, when the next leg day comes around, the body has not found it necessary to allocate precious resources to build back a better muscle. They may think that because outwardly they are spending so much time doing multiple different moves, never realizing they are repeatedly targeting the exact same single layer of muscles, thanks to resting for many minutes in between each set. See my episode called Seek and Destroy of my Foundations of Fitness series as to why this resting time is so terrible to your fitness gains. And doing so in a manner that never intensely engages the entire muscle all at once, which would stop them from undertaking such lengthy exercises. But in fact, they are doing almost nothing to gain future increased performance. Again, it is only when a muscle is taken deep into the debilitation zone does your body say to itself, shit, my own has done something so brutally exhausting, perhaps running away from a saber-toothed tiger or fighting for a mate, that there is a real danger that if it happens again, it may well lead to fatal consequences. So it had better not only repair the muscle, but do so in a way that will give it greater strength and functionality, and therefore a higher chance of survival in the future. Anything below entering the debilitation zone, i.e. only hitting between 0 and 70% of a muscle's absolute potential, including having numerous gaps in the fiber density where, because of cheat training, no micro tearing took place at all, as far as building greater levels of fitness is concerned, the outcome is the same as if you had never trained. See my Foundations of Fitness series for detailed explanations about how to ensure you take each and every muscle during your workouts into this all-important zone. Okay, next, as with every exercise, you have to know where the danger points are. Those are the points at which people cheat train, and in doing so, they throw away so much potential gains that there is no way they can ever take the muscle into the aforementioned debilitation zone, regardless how many sets they do. So, for the leg press, never straighten your legs out completely, because the weight stops being engaged with your muscle and simply flows through your bones as when we stand vertically upright. Don't create a V shape with your legs that allows the weight force flowing down one leg to counter the weight flowing down the other, in a similar way as how lifts work, with a second mass weighing almost the same amount as the lift itself. Make sure your legs travel backwards along parallel lines. Don't let the weight free fall on the way back. When your muscle rests intraset, as far as your body is concerned, the expenditure count goes back to 0, and 8, or indeed 1,000,000 times 0 is 0. Fight against what the weight wants to do and bring it back at a slow, controlled pace, lasting at least 3 times as long as it initially took to push it up along the positive range. You'll have to halve the weights you use because now you're not cheating but training every muscle fiber and compounding this intensity repetition after repetition. Take the weight all the way back without letting your lower spine lift off the back support pads. Aim to touch your knees into your armpits. Do not accelerate quickly as you transition from the negative to positive range of movement, but actually dwell a moment there. This is where you'll be hitting your glutes to the utmost maximum. Conversely, the straighter your legs become, the less net weight there is on the muscle and the more that is flowing through your bones. Again, avoid rapid acceleration at any point along this engagement line. Do all this, and after just 3 sets, you'll barely be able to walk, you'll be breathing as if you had just run up a hill at speed, and you won't be able to go on and do any further glute training exercises. This is what getting fit looks and feels like. Anyway, put in my muscles where my mouth is. Here is the video showing you exactly how to leg press the evolutionary way. Okay then, so this is me taking up my position at a standard leg press machine. The amount of weight I'm using isn't important. What is the amount I'm able, by using my evolutionary training techniques, to keep within the glutes throughout the entire range of the movement. I only ever do 3 sets and have to lower the weight after the first. If you were doing the opposite, continually adding weight set after set, then you are guilty of cheat training and will never make great gains. You just can't get stronger when you've reduced, through micro tearing, the number of fibers available for you to use. That's just a simple law of physics. Otherwise, you're saying there's no correlation between the size of a muscle and its strength. Any set performed with a heavier weight than the one before means you fail to enter the debilitation zone, and thus was a waste of your time. Here, I'm trying to indicate that it's vitally important to keep the knees well apart rather than creating a V shape that cancels out the force on one leg with that of the other. See how my lower back remains connected with the pad behind me at all times. I'm not lifting it at any point. See how the angle of my knee never creates a straight line for the weight to travel down my bones. I never lock out, rest, and then drop the weight, allowing gravity to push my legs back. I'm making sure the upward force I exert goes through my heels and not the balls of my feet where they are touching the plate. Finally, see how, even after the first set, I'm already breathing heavily. This is because when my muscles fire, they consume large quantities of oxygen, which my body now has to rapidly replace. I reduce the weight to ensure I can still control the movement, even though I now have fewer fibers in the game. I take about 1¼ minutes rest time between each set. This ensures that the body brings up the next layer of fibers to engage in the fight, rather than temporarily repairing and using the same ones again if I sit around for many minutes doing nothing. Make sure your legs recess into the gap between your waist and your arms, rather than allowing your legs to fall and press against your belly. Again, note how little energy I'm generating through my arms, tempting as it would be to do so. Take note how assiduously I maintain a 1:3 ratio between time taken to do the positive and then the negative parts of the exercise. See how I'm always in control of the weight, not the weight in control of me. Look how my diaphragm rises and falls rapidly as my breathing becomes heavy. That's what getting fit looks like. See my last video on this subject. Anyway, that's it. The glute muscles taken to a point of destruction. Done correctly, you just won't be able to faff around badly doing squats, deadlifts, etc. afterwards. The job is done. Move on to a totally different part of the body and get even more fitness gains from your session rather than going round and round in pointless circles. Now go do the right thing and make yourself proud that you've joined the Train, Don't Strain Fitness Evolution. Over and out.